She looked at you. You felt it. Then you froze. You've been there. Maybe it was in a coffee shop, maybe at the gym, maybe across the room at some boring networking event. A woman looked your way, not by accident, not just scanning the room. She looked at you, eyes locked, and for a second, your heart jumped. And then, you did nothing. You looked away, or stared too long, or second-guessed everything. And that moment, that one real shot at connection, disappeared. This video isn't about cheesy pickup tricks. It's about what actually works. What makes her want to look again? What makes her feel pulled to you without you saying a word? It's about the energy you give off before you even speak. The subtle power of being calm, grounded, aware. The moves that don't just make you seem confident, they make her feel safe and drawn in. We're breaking down 10 moves, all simple, all powerful, all backed by psychology, presence, and real Stoic clarity. You won't need to be loud, or funny, or alpha. You just need to know what to do when that look happens. Because when a woman looks at you, everything that comes next is up to you. Let's get into it. Step 1. Hold eye contact, then break it first. You're sitting at a cafe, sipping your coffee, scrolling through your phone, and then it happens. You look up and she's already looking at you, right in the eyes. Not a quick glance, not a polite scan. A direct look, held just long enough to feel it. Now what? Most men either panic and look away too fast or hold it too long and make it weird. But if you want to be the kind of man who knows how to turn that look into attraction, there's one move that flips the script. You hold eye contact, calm, steady, no smirk, and you break it first. That's it. But it's everything. Let's break it down. When you meet her gaze and stay with it, even for 2 or 3 seconds, you signal confidence. You're not startled. You're not afraid. You're not looking for approval. You see her and you're okay being seen. Then, when you break it, not by snapping your head or looking down, but by shifting your gaze slowly and returning to whatever you were doing, you tell her something even more powerful. You're not chasing. You're not needy. You're not in a hurry to prove anything. This isn't about arrogance. It's about centered energy. The kind of energy that says, I noticed you, but I'm good either way. Let's put this into a real situation. Imagine Kevin, 42, a sales director from Denver. He's waiting in line at a bookstore, flipping through a copy of Meditations by Marcus Aurelius. A woman across the aisle, Sarah, 39, an HR executive, glances his way, then holds it for just a second longer. Kevin meets her eyes. He doesn't fidget, doesn't smile right away. He just holds the look 1, 2, 3, then looks back at the book like nothing just happened. Guess what Sarah feels? Intrigued, a little unsettled, but in the good way. She's now wondering, who is this guy? She's used to men either looking away nervously or trying to pounce the second she looks. But this guy didn't need to chase, and that's attractive. Why does this work? Because humans are wired to respond to status, calm, and presence. When you hold eye contact and break it first, you're subtly taking the lead in the interaction without saying a word. You're the one in control of your focus. You're not frozen. You're not reactive. You choose where your energy goes. And here's a Stoic lens to frame it. Epictetus said, it's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters. A woman looking at you isn't what defines your power. What you do with that moment, calmly, confidently, without tension, is what makes the difference. Holding eye contact, then breaking it first, is not a pickup trick. It's a signal of inner stillness. It tells her you're the kind of man who sees but doesn't cling, who's open but not desperate. She may look again, or she may not. That's not your job. Your job is to stay centered in who you are. If you've ever been in that moment where a single glance could have turned into something more, drop a comment. I hold first. The next step is just as important because now you've got her attention. But what happens next will either deepen the tension or ruin it. let's keep going. Step 2. Smile like you know something. So, you've held her gaze, and you broke it first. That was your opening move. Now, it's time to give her something that keeps the tension alive without saying a single word. A smile. But not just any smile. Not the wide, overeager, I'm trying to impress you grin most men flash when they panic, and not the forced, tight-lipped expression that looks more like you're hiding discomfort than confidence. I'm talking about a slow, deliberate, knowing smile. The kind that says, I see you, and I'm good with whatever happens next. The power here is subtle. A real, confident smile can trigger trust, lower her defenses, and even spark curiosity. It's rooted in something primal. When someone smiles in a relaxed, controlled way, it signals safety and status. You're telling her without words, I'm not threatened, I'm not desperate, I'm in my own frame. And here's where the Stoic mindset comes in. Marcus Aurelius once wrote, "The happiness of your life depends upon the quality of your thoughts." If your thoughts are calm, grounded, and present in the moment, that will show up in your smile. If your thoughts are anxious, self-conscious, or needy, that will show too, and no amount of fake it till you make it will hide it. Think about it. When you smile like you know something, you're creating a private moment for yourself. You're not trying to get a reaction. You're not fishing for approval. You're enjoying the moment as it is. That's what makes it magnetic. It's also about timing. If you smile the instant you make eye contact, you kill the suspense. But if you let that eye contact breathe first, maybe even look away, and then let a small smile appear, it's like adding a spark to the tension you've already built. It tells her you're aware of the game, but you're not rushing to play it. This is why the knowing smile works better than an all-out grin. The knowing smile is controlled. It's almost like you're smiling at an inside joke that only you understand. And that mystery, that's what keeps her looking. Here's the thing, a real smile doesn't just move your lips, it softens your eyes. That's where the authenticity comes from. A tense smile with cold eyes feels manipulative, but a relaxed smile with steady eyes feels grounded. She can sense the difference instantly. Why does this matter so much? Because most men lean too far one way or the other. They either try too hard to be charming, or they act too serious, thinking it makes them look alpha. The sweet spot is relaxed control. You're open enough to connect, but you're not bending your frame to fit hers. A knowing smile also buys you time. It lets her process the eye contact without feeling overwhelmed. It creates a natural rhythm in your interaction, where you're both contributing to the moment without saying a word. And if you ever feel unsure in that moment, remember another piece of Stoic wisdom from Epictetus. It's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters. Her looking at you is just a moment. Your smile, how and when you give it, is your reaction. That's where your influence is. So next time you get that look, don't rush. Let the silence breathe. Let the tension build. And then, let the corners of your mouth curve just enough to let her know you're enjoying this moment and you're in no hurry to end it. If you know exactly the kind of smile I'm talking about, drop a comment. I smile knowing. Now that she's noticed your calm and your confidence, the next move is about breaking another barrier, this time with your voice. And when you do it right, you'll pull her even closer without her realizing why. Step 3. Break the voice barrier. The look happened. The smile happened. The tension is there. Now, it's time to cross the line most men never do, and do it without killing the mood. Breaking the voice barrier means being the first one to speak. And it's not about delivering some perfect pickup line or making her laugh right away. It's about sending the message, I'm comfortable enough to start this. Think of it this way, silence can be powerful, but if it stretches too long, it turns into awkwardness. Your voice is what shifts the energy from two people looking at each other to two people actually connecting. But here's the trap. Most guys overcomplicate this. They think they need to be clever, or they freeze because they can't think of anything smooth to say. Truth is, the simpler your opener, the better. Let's make this real. Michael, 45, a project manager from Austin, is at his favorite Saturday farmers market. He's picking up fresh bread when he notices Lisa, 41, browsing the flower stand across from him. Eye contact check. Slow, knowing smile check. She's still looking his way. Michael takes a step closer, catches her eye again, and simply says, "Hey, how's your morning going?" That's it. No joke, no flashy compliment. Just a natural, grounded question in a calm tone. Lisa smiles back instantly, replying without hesitation. That's the shift, the moment you move from silent interest to active interaction. Why does something so simple work? Because your tone says more than your words. If your voice is relaxed, steady, and unhurried, she'll feel it. It's the opposite of what most men do, talking too fast, too loud, or with a nervous edge. This is where the Stoic principle of control comes in. Marcus Aurelius said, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." The moment you speak, you can't control how she responds, but you can control your delivery. Your calm voice communicates inner control, which is magnetic in itself. Another key here is volume and pace. Speak just loud enough for her to hear clearly, but not so loud that you draw attention from everyone around. Keep your pace deliberate, no rushing. It shows you're not afraid of the moment. You also want to avoid putting pressure on her with your first words. Skip the heavy compliments or direct flirts right away. Those can come later if the vibe builds. For now, you're simply opening the door and inviting her to step through. And here's the secret. Once you've broken the voice barrier, stop talking. You don't need to fill the silence immediately. Ask your question or make your comment, then give her space to respond. That pause tells her you're confident enough to let the interaction breathe. Remember, breaking the voice barrier isn't about dominating the conversation. It's about leading it. You're the one taking that small, decisive step from strangers to something more. If you've ever been in that moment where you wanted to speak but hesitated and you knew you lost your chance, this is your reminder. Don't overthink it. Keep it simple. Keep it calm. So next time you lock eyes and feel that spark, don't just stay in your head. Break the voice barrier. Make it real. If you know the power of being the first to speak, drop a comment. I make the move. Because once your voice is in the air, the next step is about choice, not hers, but yours. And that's where most men get it backwards. Step 4. Decide if you even want her. Most men make the same mistake. When a woman shows interest, they automatically assume they should pursue her. As if her looking at you, smiling, or responding to you means she's already the prize, and you just have to win her over. But here's the truth. A man who understands his own value knows that attraction is a two-way street. You're not here to convince anyone. You're here to decide if she even fits into your life. That shift changes everything about how you carry yourself. When you take a moment to evaluate her, instead of rushing to impress, you naturally slow down. You watch her energy, her body language, her responses. You see if her presence feels right to you, instead of blindly trying to earn her approval. The Stoics were clear on this. Epictetus said, "First say to yourself what you would be, and then do what you have to do." In other words, know your standards before you walk into any interaction. If you don't, you'll default to chasing any attention that comes your way. When you decide if you even want her, you stay grounded. You're no longer in the mindset of, "I hope she likes me." Instead, it's, "Let's see if this is a good fit." That subtle difference removes pressure for you and for her. And here's the irony, that lack of neediness is often what makes her more curious about you. Think about what happens when you operate this way. You hold your frame. You're not leaning in too quickly. You're reading her signals, not just the obvious ones, but the deeper ones. Does she match your energy? Is she respectful? Does she seem present in the moment? Or is she distracted? And this doesn't mean being cold or arrogant. It means staying aware of your own boundaries. You're willing to walk away if it doesn't feel right, not because you're playing hard to get, but because you respect yourself enough not to settle for a forced connection. When you carry this mindset, your body language changes. You stand or sit with more ease. You're comfortable with pauses in conversation. You don't rush to fill every gap with words. You're engaged, but not over-invested. And women notice this instantly. It communicates that you're selective, not because you think you're better than anyone, but because you know who you are and what you're looking for. That's rare, and it's magnetic. There's also a deeper layer here. When you choose from a place of self-respect, you're far less likely to get pulled into unhealthy dynamics. You're not blinded by surface-level attraction. You're not ignoring red flags just because she's beautiful or giving you attention. A man who knows his worth moves differently. He's in no rush. He doesn't need to win every interaction. He's willing to let go, even when there's initial chemistry, if he sees it's not aligned. That's strength. And it's exactly the kind of strength that women can feel. So, when you're in that moment, the look, the smile, the spark, take a breath. Instead of asking, how do I keep her interested? Ask, do I even want to? If you've ever flipped that mindset and felt your confidence rise instantly, drop a comment. I choose first. Because once you know you're the one making the choice, the way you handle the next step will completely change the dynamic and make her chase the connection even more. Step 5. Wait for the second look. Most guys get caught up in the first glance. She looked at you, and suddenly it's game time. Your pulse jumps, you feel that pull, and you want to act right away. But here's the thing, the first look isn't the green light. It's just the opening bell. The real moment of truth is the second look. That's when things get interesting. Because if she looks back at you again after the initial moment has passed, that's not just curiosity, that's intent. That's her saying, I noticed you before, and I'm still thinking about you. Let me make this real for you. John, 48, owns a small construction business in Ohio. He's having lunch at a quiet diner, enjoying a burger and reading the news on his phone. At the table across the room, there's Emily, 44, a teacher grading papers over a cup of tea. Their eyes meet as the waitress passes by. That's the first look. John doesn't rush it. He just holds eye contact for a second, then goes back to his lunch like it's no big deal. 5 minutes later, while he's taking a sip of coffee, he feels it, that second look. Emily's eyes are on him again. This time, it lingers a little longer. She's sending a signal, and John knows it. Now here's the power of waiting for the second look. It shifts the dynamic. Instead of you trying to make something happen, you're giving her space to make the next move. You're letting her confirm her interest. And when she does, it changes the energy completely, because now you know you're not the only one engaged. This is where patience comes into play. The Stoics understood the value of restraint. Seneca said, "It is a great thing to know the season for speech and the season for silence." The second look is all about timing. You're reading the moment, not rushing it. You're letting her invest before you decide to act. And it's not just about patience, it's about perception. When you wait, you're showing that you're not desperate for validation. You're signaling that you're comfortable in your own space, and you don't need to chase every opportunity immediately. That kind of calm, measured energy is rare, and women notice it. But here's the catch. Waiting for the second look doesn't mean you stare her down until it happens. That'll just make things weird. You go back to whatever you were doing, sipping your drink, talking to a friend, reading something on your phone. You let her feel that you've moved on. That's what makes her want to look again. And when it happens, that's when you can decide how to play it. Maybe you give a small smile. Maybe you break the voice barrier like we talked about earlier. Maybe you just hold that second eye contact for a beat longer and let the tension grow. The key is that you've flipped the script. She's now re-engaging with you. And in her mind, she's the one who took the second step. That's powerful psychology. If you've ever caught that second look and known instantly that the game just changed, drop a comment. I wait twice. Because from here, it's not about rushing in, it's about using that moment to deepen the connection without killing the mystery. And that's exactly what the next step is all about. Step 6. Use your body to say, "Come here." By this point, the energy is already building. You've had the look, maybe even the second look, and now it's time to bridge the gap, not with words, but with your body language. Here's where most men blow it. They either freeze up, hoping she'll make the next move, or they go too big and too obvious, which kills the subtle tension that's been building. The goal here isn't to wave her over like you're calling a taxi. It's to use small, deliberate, confident gestures that pull her in without saying a word. Humans are wired to read body language before anything else. The tilt of your head, the way you angle your torso, even the way you rest your arms, it all sends a signal. When done right, it can say, "I'm open. You can come closer." And when done wrong, it can scream, "I'm trying too hard." This is where the Stoics actually give us an edge. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "Let your actions be directed, and let them have no other aim than to accomplish a good purpose." In this moment, your purpose is simple. Invite her in without breaking your frame. That means no jittery movements, no fidgeting, no nervous adjustments. Every movement should be intentional. Start with your stance. If you're standing, turn your body slightly toward her, but not fully. A full, square-on stance too soon can feel confrontational. A slight angle keeps it relaxed, giving her the sense that she's entering your space by choice, not because you're pushing it on her. If you're sitting, you can lean back slightly, creating an open chest posture. This signals confidence and comfort. You're not guarding yourself with crossed arms or hunched shoulders. You're saying, without words, "I'm here, and I'm at ease." Then comes the subtle invitation. It could be as small as a raised eyebrow when you catch her eye, a slow nod in her direction, or even a gentle tilt of your head toward the empty space next to you. These gestures work because they don't demand, they suggest. She has to choose to respond, which makes her investment in the moment stronger. Timing matters here. You don't want to send that "come here" signal too soon. Let her feel the build-up from your previous steps. Let the silence and space do some of the work. When you finally give that signal, it should feel like the natural next step, not a sudden jump. Your eyes also play a huge role. Combine your gesture with steady, unhurried eye contact. This isn't about staring her down. It's about holding just enough connection to make the gesture feel personal. When your eyes and your body language match, the message is clear. The beauty of this move is that it works in different settings without needing to speak. In a crowded room, a small hand motion toward yourself can cut through the noise more effectively than yelling across the space. In a quieter setting, the smallest tilt of your head can speak louder than any line. What makes it truly powerful is restraint. You're not chasing her down, you're giving her the choice to come closer. And people value what they choose more than what's forced on them. If you've ever used nothing but body language to bring someone closer and it worked, drop a comment. I move first. Because once she's inside your space, that's when the dynamic shifts again. And the next step is about making sure you don't waste that moment. Step 7. Just go talk to her calm and direct. There's a point where all the subtle signals, the looks and the body language stop mattering unless you take the next step. You've built the tension. You've created the opportunity. Now it's time to walk over and talk to her, not in a rush, not overcompensating, but with the calm directness of a man who's completely at ease with himself. The biggest mistake most guys make here is overthinking their approach. They replay 100 possible lines in their head, searching for something perfect, and end up freezing. Or they walk in with way too much energy, turning the moment into a performance instead of a connection. The secret is to strip it all back. Keep it simple. Keep it grounded. The goal isn't to impress her in the first 10 seconds, it's to start a natural exchange that can grow. Take Mark, 52, a personal trainer from Denver. He's at a rooftop bar one Friday night. Across the room, he spots Rachel, 46, leaning against the railing, sipping her drink. They've already exchanged a quick glance, then a second one. A little while later, she caught his "come here" gesture, but stayed where she was, clearly curious. Mark doesn't wait for a third signal. He walks over slowly, no rush in his step, no anxious energy in his face. When he gets close enough, he makes easy eye contact and says, "Hey, you look like you've got the best spot in the place." Rachel smiles instantly. It's not a rehearsed pickup line, it's an observation. It's casual, easy to respond to, and it matches his calm energy. That's the key, matching your words to your presence. If you've been carrying yourself with quiet confidence until now, don't ruin it by suddenly turning into a comedian or a salesman. Stay consistent. Your tone should be unhurried, your volume steady, and your body relaxed. The Stoics understood the power of approaching life and people with intention. Epictetus said, "If you want to improve, be content to be thought foolish and stupid." That's not telling you to act foolish. It's reminding you that you can't control how she reacts, and you shouldn't fear a little awkwardness. If she's not interested, it doesn't define you. If she is, it's because you gave her the real you, not a character you were playing. Another important detail: once you start the conversation, don't dominate it. Give her space to speak. The easiest way to keep things flowing is to comment on something in your shared environment: the music, the view, the event you're both attending. These topics are neutral, easy to talk about, and keep the pressure low. Physical presence also matters here. When you walk up, respect her personal space. Stand close enough to show intent, but not so close that it feels invasive. Let the distance close naturally as the conversation warms up. Mark didn't try to impress Rachel with stories or achievements right away. Instead, he let the moment be about her listening, engaging, and keeping his body language open. Within a few minutes, the vibe was set. It didn't feel like a stranger approaching. It felt like a natural meeting between two people who were already halfway connected. This is what calm and direct looks like in action. It's not about waiting forever for the perfect sign. It's about moving when the moment is right, keeping your energy steady, and letting the connection grow without forcing it. If you know exactly how it feels to approach someone with complete ease, drop a comment. I walk calm. Because once you've stepped into her space and opened that door, the next move is about making sure she doesn't just notice you, she remembers you. And that's where the next step will take things. Step 8. Touch her world before you touch her body. Too many men rush the physical part. They think attraction is a race. The quicker you can break that touch barrier, the faster you win. But the truth is, if you want the kind of connection that sticks in her mind long after the night ends, you have to reach her world before you reach for her body. What does that mean? It means stepping into her perspective, making her feel seen, understood, and engaged as a person first. Because once she feels like you've touched her thoughts, her feelings, and her atmosphere, physical closeness becomes a natural extension, not a forced move. This is where the Stoic mindset is a huge advantage. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "If someone is able to show me that what I think or do is not right, I will happily change, for I seek the truth." In conversation, this isn't about debating her, but about genuinely listening, being open to seeing the world through her eyes. When she senses you're not just waiting for your turn to speak, but actually taking in what she says, you separate yourself from every guy who treats interaction like a transaction. Touching her world means you notice the details, what she values, what makes her light up, what she's passionate about. This can be as simple as asking a thoughtful question about something she mentioned in passing, or commenting on something you've observed in the moment that reflects who she is. And here's why this works so well. Emotional connection builds anticipation. When she feels that mental spark, her body naturally follows. You're creating a sense of safety and familiarity before any physical touch happens, which makes the eventual touch far more powerful. It also communicates self-control, and self-control is magnetic. You're showing her that you're not driven by impulse alone, that you value the connection enough to let it breathe. This keeps the mystery alive while making her feel more drawn to you. Think about the difference between a man who brushes her arm within 2 minutes of meeting her and a man who spends time really engaging with her before making any physical move. The first feels predictable. The second feels intentional. And intention is what creates real chemistry. In practice, this could mean leaning into the conversation more than the physical space, maintaining strong eye contact, mirroring her body language subtly, letting your tone drop slightly when you say something meaningful. All of these are ways of touching without touching. It's also about pacing. You don't have to hold back forever, but you do have to let the rhythm of the interaction guide you. When she's laughing, leaning in, and her eyes are locked on you, the moment for physical touch will present itself naturally. By then,